Head to Knoxville, don't be late. Baker's Live, it's gonna be great. June 5th and 6th, mark your date at Dollywood, we'll celebrate. Meet Baker and more cool friends. Live show magic that never ends. Come to Dollywood, feel the vibe. With great people there, it's gonna be a ride. Rides, fun, and meet and greet. Baker and pals, the crew's so sweet. Get ready for laughs, cheers, and thrills. Knoxville's the place, it's giving chills. Meet Baker and more cool friends. Live show magic that never ends. Come to Dollywood, feel the vibe. With great people there, it's gonna be a ride. June 5th and 6th, don't miss the fun. Meet Baker and friends, it's second to none. Baker and friends, it's second to
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whoever you are, what, if any, you might be. And welcome to day 2 in the Natalie Cochran case. A case we picked up yesterday because the Jason Chen case was kind of boring. The only exciting part in that case yesterday was when the SIM card got stuck in the evidence envelope and they had to look for it for a couple of minutes. Other than that, in that case, lots of evidence foundation was laid yesterday. The DNA lady was on forever. Sorry, Marissa, that you had to sit through that. But this case, if you didn't follow along yesterday, because you might have checked out of the poor audio Jason Chen case, this case is a little more interesting because there's reasonable doubt aplenty. Did she do it? Did she obtain insulin from her neighbor, inject it to her husband, putting him into a coma that unalived him in 5 days? Or did he use insulin because he liked to be buff? He combined it with testosterone and maybe overdosed. This is kind of the two different stories we've heard so far. We already know from the state they have no hard evidence. It'll all be circumstantial. So the defense will just have to keep prodding away and try to make as much reasonable doubt as you can have. The witnesses they brought yesterday, the first one was absolutely horrendous. He was a guy who had to do with the forensics. He didn't even know they co-owned the business together that was used to make a Ponzi scheme that they claim is the reason why she unalived her husband when he found out. All the evidence of what they used the ill-gotten gains to was more or less men toys, motorcycles, ATVs, a replica car. As a juror, I would have gone home yesterday thinking, but let's say hey to Helen from Holland, and Kimpers from Ohio, and Kathleen, Sui, Hell Racing Angel, Celestial, broken hearted. Out and about. And Brienne, how y'all doing this morning? Teresa Dixmeyer. I am doing A-OK. I had court this morning, arrived in court, no judge arrived, thinking, oh, she's in the wrong courtroom because we were in a different one yesterday. Then she came in, said, we're missing a defendant, and she has trouble getting to court, so hasta la taco, see you in next month. That was easy money. Well, I'm trying to promote it so more people might want to join us in 10AC, because you're the only 10 I see. Hello, Holly, and Jemima, and Kathy, Krista, and Miss Hyacinth. Did I say good morning? I don't think. Hey, Coffee Nut. And Kim. You didn't think the wondering if it was his underwear on the floor was fun? I can only talk about crusty underwear that long. I can't do it for 8 hours a day. Well, I am a professional grifter. We have to sell our product, or Marissa will yell at me. Hey, June. You are up early if you're in Califas. And Becky, it does. There's a lot of reasonable doubt in this case. Talking about yelling. Hey, Marissa. But she didn't even call 911. Maybe he could have been saved. Or maybe he said, don't call 911. I just need to sleep it off. I don't want to go back to the hospital. That's what the defense told us. Why that police officer who came over and helped him on the couch, why didn't he instantly call the police and said, I think there's something wrong here? He just said, okay, I'll help you get him to the couch, but maybe you should bring him to the hospital. Again, reasonable doubt is all you need if the jury understand it. And I'm not saying if she did it or didn't do it. I'm just saying I can see reasonable doubt. Cindy Lou and Melissa Crawford. You are at the gym, and I might TMI. You don't care for the defense attorney. I love that he sounds like Colonel Klink. He was unconscious. Well, maybe he had 4 trips to the hospital last year and said, I don't want to go back there because people die at the hospital. Again, I'm just putting reasonable doubt out there. I'm not saying you're wrong or I'm right. I'm just saying, where can I poke the holes? Because everyone is innocent until proven guilty. And yes, it's a circumstantial evidence that she didn't call the police or the fire, the ambulance service. But maybe there was a reason. It's all it's for the state to disprove their theory. And their motive is she did it for financial gains. But the financial guy didn't even know that they were co-owners of the business. So I'm just a little bit tired of state cases where trust me, bro, is the leading part of it. And again, I can see one tree, you can see another tree, and together we see a forest. That's fine, but we just have to make sure that the forest is in the same place. And I hate these. Well, it's purely speculation or circumstantial, but maybe today more hardcore evidence will come in. Yeah, you can do that. I don't think it's a good way to go, but people do that. People accidentally overdose on insulin. The neighbor told, we have a hard time regulating our kids' insulin. Why did the neighbor give her insulin? That's another thing I so weird. Hey, Dina from Alabama. Washbar. Well, Brandon, I got it just for you. Yeah, because you can talk about all the red flags it rises with her, but she lived with him, and he said, "Well, I was at the hospital 4 times last year, and it was hell, and I don't want to go back." And she said, "Okay, honey." Why didn't the police officer force her to call the? Again, all of it is circumstantial. Oh yeah, we have our. If you want a word put in for our closing argument, bingo, you can submit the words here. Yeah, you could also use that argument. The thing is, that just again gives credence to my saying that there's a lot of circumstantial or a lot of reasonable doubt in this case. And this is no matter if we think they're guilty or we think they're innocent, the state still have to rise above reasonable doubt. It's the same in the Jason Chen case. If they want him for murder, one, they have to show premeditation. I think the 60 stab wounds and the disposing of the body show some kind of premeditation. But again, we have to, as we say in Denmark, share sun and wind equally. If we want reasonable doubt to be the leading guiding factor in the cases we like the defendants in, we should also give it to defendants we don't like. And again, I don't know anything about this lady other than she's in prison for 11 years. Yeah. Yeah, but she's not. She works at a pharmacy, and the one who finally called the police is a nurse. So that could be the thing. Oh, look who's here to spoil the party. Hey, oh, hey, Jamie. Sorry.
Morning.
Hey, who?
You all right?
Yeah, I didn't say anything when you came in.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Hey, Kelly. He wouldn't be the first or last to call a friend who's a cop. No, and sometimes don't call the cops because they are a-holes. I did a video on Proctor's hearing yesterday. What? I'll find a homoerotic case for you next time, Brandon, if that's what you like. Well, circumstantial evidence should be allowed as long as it paints a clear picture. Because again, if I see a tree here, I see a tree here, I see a tree here, and I see a tree here, it's probably a forest.
Yeah.
You are allowed to deduct from evidence, but then I have a feeling that circumstantial evidence should be very well presented, because Karen Reed is purely circumstantial evidence as well. No one saw her do it. No one heard her say anything. They just claim she went apeshit cray-cray.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing, is everybody has to understand what circumstantial evidence is and evaluate it properly. I think sometimes that's the problem. They see it as it's fact, and that's what it is.
Yeah. And it's just not as good as fingerprints or DNA evidence, in my opinion.
No. Yeah.
I'm never mean.
Because like this whole thing about he was unconscious, she must have, and she didn't call the ambulance, she must have did it. That's not it. Like, yeah, that part is questionable to some people, but does that prove that she actually injected him with something that, you know, made that happen, made him go unconscious? We don't know. That's what they have to prove.
Yeah, and I just don't think they did a good job yesterday. We can come in, they are batting 100 today. We don't know, or 1,000. How much do you bet, Jamie?
How much do I bat?
Yeah, I don't know what the saying is. I just know it's something about batting something. You could swing, you could unalive a cat in a barrel batting. That's what we know in Denmark.
Yeah, I'm a pretty I was an all-star softball player.
Oh my.
Yeah, I was the designated hitter for my varsity team in high school because I was that amazing.
So What did you bet? 20?
Well, yeah. But
What?
anyways.
How?
Well, it's girls softball, so it didn't take much to get it over the fence for a home run.
No, but again, what is it out of 100? Is it out of 1,000?
1,000. So we always said it.
Oh, so it's percentages. So when they have a batting average of something, it's the amount of times they hit on being on plate. So if you have a batting average of 333, that's because you hit a third of the times you had at the plate. I am now an expert in baseball. That would be on-base percentage. Isn't that how many times you get on base after being pitched at? A hit is a hit.
I wasn't a numbers lady. A hit was a hit. I didn't.
Hey, Reby, we are having a great morning. We are talking about baseball. I've heard that's what men should do in America.
And I'm the slowest runner ever, so I had to become a good hitter.
You can get walked. You can get hit by a pitch. Yeah, that's an an on-base percentage then. So your on-base percentage can be higher than your hit percentage if you're good at getting whacked in the dome with a ball. I'm already an expert in baseball, Jamie. You don't have to. Baseball on a budget every Sunday at 12 with Jamie. Go Indians.
No, don't follow me, guys. I'm terrible at the whole percentages and number stuff.
When Gamecocks baseball starts up, I'll be expecting you to follow. I tried to watch it. I had a TV channel that showed baseball once because I thought, hey, I like American sports. I found out I don't like American sports. I like basketball and football because baseball is let's play for 48 hours and hit the ball twice.
I will say it is much better like live than it is watching it on TV. So you'll have to take Baker to everybody. If he ever comes to the States again, you got to make him go to a baseball game. It'll be fun. A good team though, not just anybody.
The difference is baseballs are smaller and softballs are only thrown underhand.
They can whip those things underhand, believe me. And they're bigger too. The softballs are.
Yeah, that's why baseballs are smaller, Jamie. That would be nice if they put audio on.
I mean, yeah, I know. They give the girls an advantage.
Come on. Put audio on. They are arguing something. Could be nice if they had audio. I do have audio. I do have closed captions. It is boosted. Nothing's happening.
There's a difference between co-ed softball and actual like girls softball, like high school level. Co-ed softball is like slow pitch. I played that too. That was fun. But everybody just drank. It was like a drinking league.
Online Red is already volunteering to watch your baseball on a budget.
That'd be on a budget for sure. I'm a budget announcer.
What the heck is going on?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's.
I'll try Court TV and see if they have audio. Nope. It's the feed that has no audio. And now, no, that's because I stopped. Jimmy is so right. I thought baseball was the most boring thing ever until I actually went to a professional game. It was so much fun, and the second time I went, we scored a magic skybox. Magical skybox.
Yeah.
Do I know what Virgo row is? A dyslexic spelling virgin?
Vigoro? Is that what you mean?
I don't know. I don't know how it's pronounced. No, Lawyer Lee should be in court.
She's
She's
right there,
right
in the
there.
blonde in the back.
Yeah. It is Lawyer Lee, and she's sitting in the back, and there's no audio on the feed, and I'm angry.
I did too, Holly Mac. Those are the two sports I liked. God, these headphones are driving me crazy.
Well, he looks like a lot of people. He also looks like Danny DeVito. Vigoro is a cross between cricket and tennis and played with long arm paddles. Oh, I know that from Miami Vice. It's the fastest ball game in the world.
Oh, what is it? I've never heard of that.
I've
I don't
talked
even
about
really
it
know
before.
what
It's where
cricket is.
you have like a long scoop connected to your arm, and then you kind of like squash. You have to play it against the back wall, and it comes back, and the other one has to fling it as well. Vigoro is lawn fertilizer.
Like racquetball?
No, Jamie, like squash.
I don't know what
And
squash is.
it's not with a racket. You have a contraption that kind of looks like a fish hook if I draw it, but you have a long contraption that you then you grab the ball down in the thing, and then you toss it against the back wall. I thought that was Hayalai. I don't know. I know that the thing I'm thinking of is from they played in the intro to Miami Vice, the old series. We just left the court yesterday because of bad audio, and today there's no audio. Is Marissa already calling? Jeepers creepers.
Come on, Law and Crime. Get it together. Or is it Court TV? I don't know who has the reins.
It's both channels. It's the feed.
College of West Virginia,
College of West Virginia. Natalie
Jeez,
Cochran
finally.
to,
Mountain State University,
and it's now
West Virginia Tech.
okay. All same place,
Yes.
different name.
Yeah, what is that collar on that shirt? That is weird.
It looks like a necklace kind of thing.
So a physician's
She's trying to have a boob window.
is a layman term was a mid-level practitioner. Now we're called advanced practitioners, and we do everything a physician does except for we prescribe medicines, we see patients, we assist in surgery, do small procedures.
She's probably the one who
basically
called
anything
the cops.
that the
The
physician
ambulance.
does. We're trained on the physician module.
What was your first
Thank you,
job?
Jess. It's the one we're on.
I worked in pediatrics
Where?
at Begley Pediatrics. I worked for 5 years there.
Where did you go then?
MedExpress.
And now you're currently employed where?
Reno Medical Center.
Are those the three professional positions you have held as a physician's assistant?
Mainly the ER and Med Express for many years. At Princeton ER, Med Express at the same time. I did a dual job. I worked in ENT for 4 years, and then he closed his practice to go to Virginia, and I could not go with him, so I went to Redrum Medical Center.
You're familiar with the Cochran family?
Yes.
Did you meet them through a professional, your physician's assistant position, or some other way?
No, through youth league football. Our son played.
Did you know Michael Cochran?
Yes.
And you know Natalie Cochran?
Yes.
Could you be a little more detail? How did you get to know them? You said through football, but what kind of relationship did you have with Mr. and Mrs. Cochran?
So I met them through football. Michael was one of Hunter's coaches for a while. Hunter is our son. And Michael was always very nice, cordial, speaking. Natalie was a little standoffish. There was a lot of things going on in the youth football, a lot of problems and.
That's the big problem we never talk about in youth football. All the problems. It's a deep underbelly, which will be discussed on Baby Football on a Budget with Jamie
Baby
next
football.
Saturday at 12, where she will go into the increasing level of roid use in Pee Wee football.
I hope not, because my nephews all play Pee Wee football. I don't need any of that.
Yes, I will try and reach out to her and hear if she might be interested. I don't know if she do guest spots, but I will try and take out. Yeah, at least this is an interesting case to follow.
Conflict.
Testimony. There's a comment on the defendant's character and a vague testimony about some problems that we do not know anything about.
Your Honor, could I respond to that? Certainly. You didn't mention anything about this was somehow the defendant's fault.
No,
You said
I
there was
did not. I just said there was
conflict.
conflict in the youth football.
You said
program
she was standoffish.
in general.
The objections are.
Yeah.
Continue, please, Mr. Truman.
Thank you.
You're commenting on the
Do you have a
character.
time frame as to when Hunter and Mr. Cochran were involved in youth football, and that's how you got to know the Cochrans? What?
Hunter started playing in 2015. I think Michael was his coach around,
He objected that they're commenting on her character. They're not allowed to do that. And then she said, I didn't. I just said there was problems. No, she said she was standoffish. Again, it's a little thing, but we know how we feel sometimes. Yesterday we talked a lot about she had a face that a lot of people, me included, felt seemed a little smug, and that's just not a good look. Not that she can do anything about it probably, but the jury are people like we are, and we will sit there and think, are you smiling? Learned yesterday about midget football league and still kind of salty. It wasn't what I thought it was. There's midget wrestling somewhere
It's
in Tennessee.
not. Yeah, no.
I'm angry that Valhalla didn't take me. I don't know what hurts me most, the mouse ear or the midget wrestling.
2015, 2016 is when we got to know Michael a little bit.
So it's.
And Lolita's right.
Longstanding-
Pee Wee football
Relationship
parents can be
Right.
cray.
Yeah.
How did you generally communicate with the defendant?
Through text.
Was that the primary means?
Yes, sir.
Now I have to pass this binder to be marked as states. All right. Defense counsel has been shown a copy of the statement.
Very well.
And I'd like you to hand this to the witness for proof.
Certainly.
Just to hand you what's been marked for identification, ask you to just briefly thumb through it for the purpose of saying what it is.
Good to see you, Jen.
It's text messages between me and Natalie Cochran,
How do you know you were texting Natalie Cochran?
because in my text, these are my text messages, but it's Natalie, it's the contact. She's speaking about Michael, we're speaking about money.
So you're confident that these are, in fact, are these screenshots from your phone?
Yes.
I'd ask that the stage 3 be admitted.
Any
It's
objection?
fashion, Dave. It's fashion.
Stage 3 is admitted into evidence.
Ask you to take a look at one of the items that came from stage 3. I call your attention to information that came to you from the defendant concerning her health. Is that the way you remember it?
Mhm.
So the defendant advised you that she's been diagnosed with cancer, and that was in January of 2019, correct?
Yes.
Also from stage 3, I ask you to take a look at this. And this one may require some explaining. It should show up on that monitor.
Oh,
Okay. Save you bending around. Take a moment to just review that.
When you get here, I will run by. He said go wild camo. I can administer it. Promise. Tell him I'll get it for him as a get well present. And when it comes in, maybe we can take him an ass shooting. How about we meet for lunch on Wednesday? Ass will be back from school by then, and I shouldn't be contagious. We can go to the dis. It's my fave, and Mike said it. Lol. Oh, okay, no problem. Yes, let's plan on lunch and follow up tomorrow. I love the dish. Great. Yay, yay, girl time. You want something stuff? We are buying you first something. My treat, but I know, seriously, I'll get it dirt cheap. Interesting. What are they buying? Hey,
Your Honor,
Ali.
could we have a date? It has timestamps, but we have no idea when this was occurring.
That's fair. You can January. Back up. Tell us when that conversation.
that one should have been in February, the 4th.
Should have been or
Talking about
was.
February the 4th, 2019.
Yes, sir.
It's a little bit confusing because at the top of this document, it's got a January 1, but that's when the screenshot was taken as opposed to the actual conversation, correct?
Mhm.
Okay. Now, when the defendant is telling you I can administer that, what's he talking about?
She had,
Oh, and Dave, this case is about this woman being alleged to have unalived her husband with an insulin shot because he found out she was running a Ponzi scheme. She has pled guilty to a Ponzi scheme of 11 million, I believe. No, 11 years, 2.3 million or something in assets has been taken from her. But whatever we heard yesterday, it seems like the husband was more than willing to spend all the money that he apparently didn't know they have.
texted me and told me that she had pneumonia. She was still coughing really bad. And she wanted to know if she could get some steroids. She asked me if I told her that was fine. I usually do pills. She asked for a shot. So I was gonna give her that, send it in for her to the pharmacy, and I asked her if she wanted me to come by and give it to her. She said no, that she could administer it.
And what did you prescribe for her for her pneumonia?
Solumetrol,
Generally speaking, what is that?
that is a steroid.
And that's medication.
Jamie, you work in the medical field. Can you just prescribe me some roids?
I mean, she's allowed to.
Without checking the patient? if I, for example, say, Jamie, could you please bring me some roids because I really want to look buff when I go to Tennessee, and you're coming here in 2 months. I could
Well-
lose some weight before June. I'm really, really sick. Can you get me some roids?
It's not the same kind of steroid you're thinking. It's like prednisone. It's like basic.
I don't know what prednisone is.
It's just a steroid.
Yeah, but roids are roids. It'll raise my T level.
I mean, if she talks to her and stuff, they do that kind of teledoc stuff where you just like talk to a guy and tell him your symptoms.
they are
and
they
they go
are texting.
boop, 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 write it off.
It's texting, Jamie. So I text you now and say, can I get some of those blue testosterone pills for men and just some real testosterone as well. You'll be fine. You'll swing it for me.
Listen, she can write up whatever she wants. It's on her if she gets in trouble.
That's what
or
I'm
not.
saying. So
Yeah.
a year's worth of both, please.
You offer in pill form, but she wanted an injectable.
Prednisone pill form, but she wanted an injection. She asked for salumendrol.
An injectable pregnancy
An
was
injection.
what CC said.
Is there any way to use?
Yeah, there's
the
different
item you
terms.
prescribe the specific item without needles?
No.
I mean, I personally, if I had that power, wouldn't be just being write prescriptions to people willy nilly.
No, it could, as Celestial Force put up, no, Lolita Smiles put up, you can lose your job if you do it wrong.
Yeah.
The next the defendant's telling you about the morning of February 6th. From a physician's assistant's perspective, is there any significance to her?
Oh, you're pretty sick, probably.
Okay. It seems like such a stupid question, but I gotta ask it anyhow. How would anybody determine their precise temperature to 100 degrees?
I've taken it with a thermometer.
That's sure you know. That's the first time indicator on it. Now we knew that Mr. Cochran was sick too, correct?
I don't know if you can read along out there what's on the screen, but it's just talking about being sick and her kid being sick too. It's nothing like, oh, by the way, I'm going to unalive him on Monday.
Just a moment.
Yeah, it is. And it can like puff
Do
you
you recall
up.
getting a request from JD, your husband, to come to the Cochran home?
Yes, I do.
About what time is that?
About he had came and told me that Natalie had texted him and said she needed help, and he was going to her house. So he left, and 30 minutes later, I want to say 12:30-ish, he called me and told me that Mike was sick and that he needed me to stop by the house. And I said, you know, for what? And he said, because I cannot get her to take him to the hospital. And I'm hoping that if you come here, that you can convince her to take him to the hospital.
Did you go to the Cochran house?
I did. I was headed to a meeting at the Board of Education, so I said I would stop on my way. And I think I got there at like 1:11 is what my timestamp said.
When you got there, what did you see?
Michael was laying on the couch. John, one thing on the phone that John had asked me to do was to bring a thermometer, that Natalie didn't have one. So
Oh, that's why
um,
they asked about the
when I got
104th.
there, he was laying on the couch sleeping. Michael was laying on the couch sleeping. She had the blood pressure cuff on his arm. There was numbers on it as if it had just been taken. She had the pulse ox on his finger, which monitors like oxygen rate and pulse rate. And that all looked normal. Nothing alarmed me when I saw the numbers. The only thing I had with me was the thermometer that they had asked me to bring, which was a ear scan. I walked over to him and
Walked over to Michael.
to Michael. He was laying on the couch, and went to take his temperature and told him, Michael, this is Stephanie, because I knew how Michael was. If he had just woke up and saw me standing there, he might punch me. So I said, Michael, it's Stephanie. Don't hit me. I'm going to take your temperature.
What?
But
I know how he was. If he just woke up and saw me, he would punch me.
apparently he's sounds very combative.
He sounds like he probably shouldn't be on roids.
Because they said that in the hospital too, where he like woke up and they had to restrain him.
And he turned his head towards me. I took his temperature. It was fine. And then he was laying on the couch. They had a recliner that kind of sat behind the couch.
So wait,
I sat down
he
in the
did
recliner.
move then? He wasn't completely unconscious? Because she said
Yeah,
turned his head.
he responded when she said it's Stephanie. So he wasn't in a coma.
Yeah. Okay.
So his head was behind. I mean, I was behind his head. He was in there. And talked to Natalie and John for a few minutes to see what had happened and what was going on.
What were you told that happened?
I was told that, I knew.
Unless it's a statement of the
Can this douche canoe get any longer from any microphone in the courtroom? Oh, I lost connection. I hope I'm back.
defendant, I object to hearsay.
Fair enough. Did the defendant tell you what happened? Did Natalie Cochran tell you what happened?
Yes.
What did she say?
She told me that they had been sick that morning, which she had said through text. She said he was throwing up and he had a seizure or something in the kitchen and fell on the floor.
Did anyone tell
Yeah, my internet just dropped, so I should be back.
you that? Well, did the defendant tell you he hit his head at all?
No. I asked her 3 times if he hit his head, and she said no.
When you were able to physically see Michael Cochran, could you see any evidence that he hit his head?
No.
Did you look for that?
I was sitting behind him. He was laying on the couch, and as we were talking and her explaining how it went, I was, looking at his. I didn't see any like scratches or bumps or any bleeding or anything from his head at all.
Did you talk back and forth with Michael Cochran that morning?
Not that, just at the house when I said I was going to take his temperature. That's all I said to him.
Did he say anything in response?
No, he turned his head to me.
Did you ever hear Michael Cochran say anything during the time you were there?
No.
Was he awake or asleep? at the time?
Sleep.
Total time, if you were estimating.
Well, how did he respond to you then?
Would be
What is
Yeah.
this?
28 minutes.
Of the 28 minutes, during that period of time, Michael Cochran was on the couch.
Mhm.
The defendant was present.
Yes.
Was John there too?
Yes.
Jake, your husband?
Mhm.
Was anybody else there?
No.
Did you get a picture of Michael on the floor in the kitchen at any time? Or did that just go to other people?
I did not get the picture by text.
Did you ever see that picture?
Yes.
When did you see it?
Natalie showed it to me at the house.
While you were there?
Mhm.
That's it? Who is that?
That's Michael.
After you left the house, what was the next contact you had with the defendant?
I had went to a meeting, and when I come out of the meeting, I texted her to check on things because when I left there, she said she was going to let him sleep it off.
Did you ever advise her not to have him checked by you?
Never.
What did you specifically advise?
That he needed to be checked. She told me that he had a history of seizures and he had stopped taking his medication And I said, he has to be checked. I said, even people with a history of seizures, anytime they have one, they need to be checked. We never know which one's damaging.
Well, Amber Heard did it all the time.
And she said she was going to let him check it off. I kept offering, like, I would go with her. We would go, we could bypass Raleigh General if that's not what they were wanting to do. We could go to Charleston. She said he wasn't happy at Charleston either. I mentioned Princeton. Nothing was good enough. I said, well, let's call Chris and see if he'll get, the airplane. I'm sure he'll fly him somewhere.
Chris, we're talking about.
Chris Davis.
Did she accept any of those suggestions?
No, she said she was going to let him sleep it off.
So if you were quoted as the one that said, I'm going to let him sleep, I think you should let him sleep it off, you didn't say that.
Never.
That came from her, not
Yes.
you.
After you left, and other than text messages just to check on people, were you ever made aware that the defendant's sister was at her house?
Yes. She told me in text message her sister was there and they had changed his clothes.
Did you find out why it was necessary to change Michael's clothes?
She said they cleaned the urine off, so I assumed he had lost muscle control and wet himself.
What was the significance to that to you as a physician?
That he had lost muscle control. So he needed to be in the hospital.
That's absolutely BS. It doesn't mean you lost muscle control. It could also mean that you're sleeping very much and you pee yourself.
Well, if he had a
That
seizure, like they know it wasn't there beforehand. I mean, because that'll happen to people.
yeah, it's you need to be in the hospital because you piss yourself. It can happen for a lot of reasons. Sometimes you can wake up in the. Brandon does it all the time. Wake up with pee on his bed, but it's his dog. But still, this is one of those things I don't like. The only thing you can extrapolate from someone peeing themselves is they need to be in a hospital. How about you got hammered and fell asleep and peed your pants? It had happened in someone's life at some times. I don't like this. You must be in the hospital if you pee your pants.
Yeah,
He's been
like,
unconscious for a full day.
I mean, those are the things that should be more looked at. Like, okay, when you put it all together, but to say that one phrase
Yeah.
and say that's why, that's different.
Yeah, and again, a seizure, if you regularly have seizures, I remember some people who had those what are called the attacks where they start shaking and just seizes up. What's that disease?
Well, I mean,
Not Parkinson.
is it? Yeah, I don't know.
You know, where they just seize up and epilepsy. Yeah. And normally, if they were we had it a few times in bakeries, and you just stabilize them and put something in their mouth so they don't bite their tongue. They'll wake up, they'll be fine, and they'll go home and they have a card saying, "I have epilepsy." If they fall over, and they will be fine and can walk home right after it's done when they just had a small break. I don't like it when it's clearly a sign you must be in the hospital till.
Yeah.
So, right. We don't know. We
Yeah.
haven't heard about it. It's the
Well, this whole
epilepsy,
thing,
yeah.
we'll have to hear the history too, because yeah, like I've known people that have problems with those, and that's usually what happens. They don't last long. They just need to relax. Sometimes they just need to take a nap, and then they're good to go.
Yeah, and again, Race could say it could be he had a seizure and then he just needed to sleep it off. And if he had been reacting, I'm just sowing reasonable doubt here because the state
Yeah,
has
we
to
don't know.
overcome it. I can poke holes in this.
I mean, especially if this was, if this was truly something that has happened before, right?
Yeah. If
She
he
might
has
have
a
been
history of
reacting
seizures,
differently than most people would for their first time, you know?
let's say the last year he has suffered a few seizures, and every time he's gone to bed, slept for 4 or 5 hours, or just laid in bed for 4 or 5 hours, come back, everything's fine. And he said, I don't want to go to the doc. I'll be fine in a minute.
Hmm.
But again, everything is wrong when you're in court. If she had called
Well,
the ambulance, oh, she tried to hide it. If she didn't call the ambulance, oh, she tried to hide it. I'm just
Oh,
I want the
100%,
state to prove it.
because that's the whole thing too, is like, what if he didn't die? Then probably nobody would give two craps about it.
Yeah.
But now he's dead, so now we have to look at it under a microscope. So
Yeah, and everything looks bad when you.
yeah.
And that's why I don't like she just put it in there. If you pee your pants, you must go to the hospital. I
Mhm.
have with my back problems. The first thing if I call for pills is how is your bowel movements, because that's an indication if my the pressure on my spinal cord is too high. Because you can lose control in that sense. So it could be he had problems after his. We know he had a back surgery the year before. Could also be
Mhm.
that because yes, with the type of injuries I have, you can have problems controlling your bladder, and that's just something you. I don't have it, but that's one of the things that they tell you when when you get the operation is you might have that you can't finish or stuff like that. So it's not every time you need to go to the hospital for everything.
Yeah.
Around that same time, the defendant reported some vital signs to you, correct?
Yes.
What's the significance of any of those?
We don't even know if he had insulin in him so far.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
What, from a physician's assistant perspective, what's the significance of those numbers?
Those numbers are good, except for his respirations are down. His blood pressure is a little up.
Anything to be particularly worried about?
Yeah, the respirations are low.
What about the blood glucose? Did you check the,
Never. I don't have one.
so if that number came from the defendant and not you?
Right.
Did you ever check his blood glucose?
No, I don't have one.
And blood glucose is another word for what?
Blood sugar.
But if she never checked the blood glucose, then she can't really talk about. She only
That
have
same day, you get another
hearsay
text.
evidence of blood glucose. Oh, look, that's a microphone.
From your perspective, what does she mean by that first line, just like?
He was in the hospital in November. He was sick. He had gotten sick. They went to Charleston, and she had told us that night that he was in Charleston that they thought he had a brain tumor. So at 10 o'clock that night, John and I left to go down there to be with her. He was out of it at the hospital, but he kept waking up like combative, but they were giving him like benzodiazepines at the hospital to sedate him. So
Oh, benzos, that's the good stuff.
I took it. She was saying that he was sick like he was in the hospital.
From your perspective, was it the same on February 6th of 2019 as it had been in fall 2018?
Yes, and the fact that he was given medicine for sedation, it was different. I mean, they were sedating him at the hospital to try to calm him down so they could do the tests on him.
And of course, he woke up from that.
Yes.
When were they sedating him? At this time or before?
No, the first time when they thought he had a
Oh,
brain
okay.
tumor on the vacation.
Gotcha.
That's another thing. If they had to put him on benzo, she might have thought. And again, I'm just playing devil's advocate. Don't come at me, bro. But I'm playing devil's advocate because the state have to prove their case. She said, "I don't want to bring him because he gets so agitated, and I'm afraid he just had a seizure, waking up. He could have white coat syndrome, which is a
Well,
big problem for some people."
I mean, it sounded like he was not the best patient
He wasn't on
by any
insulin.
means.
Insulin was something they got from the neighbor. No one was on insulin. She allegedly took some insulin for her blood work because of chemo, I believe it was. She was on that, yeah. So that's why we heard the neighbor lady yesterday said she gave them the insulin because, of course, you share your prescription meds.
Yeah, she had some in her fridge from the neighbor.
No, they were given it by the neighbor.
Yeah, she didn't steal it.
No,
She gave it to her. That's what the neighbor
it
said.
was given willingly.
You also heard from her later that day. I call your attention to the sorry that came about 45 minutes ago. Take a look at that.
I don't think we have any confirmation of any medical stuff yet, like confirmation of it.
No, we don't have any blood works. We don't have any medical history. We just started yesterday. They are slow walking us. So let's see what they put in there. That's why I'm saying I want the state to prove their case.
No one should ever have a blood sugar of 21.
It's gonna happen.
They're in a coma. Probably near death.
Probably near death.
Yeah, but the neighbor brought over this vial of insulin.
Objection as to leaving.
Overruled.
Jeepers.
Saturday the 9th. Take a look at that. What was your reaction to that?
It was, that we are to that point. It was just hard to swallow.
I'm going to object it right now. First of all, we don't know what's the reaction to what. Second of all,
Thank you.
Perhaps you can ask another question.
That's all right.
If you could speak up a little bit, I'm having trouble.
Oh,
hearing.
I'm sorry. I beg your pardon.
The jury has sonic ears, probably, and they can hear you, but my old ears aren't working as well.
I relate and I understand.
Hey, Farrell.
Despite the
Hi, Farrell.
imminent death of the defendant, or of the victim, Mr. Cochran, were you still making plans, or was the defendant trying to still make plans with you to do other stuff?
Are you asking while he was at the hospital or after?
At the hospital?
At the hospital, I don't remember that. We only communicated through text at the hospital because we weren't able to go and see him at the hospital.
Did your relationship with the defendant go on after Michael died?
Yes.
That was-
I mean, just
relevancy.
Overruled. Go ahead, Ms. Adams.
we would meet for lunch. We tried to be supportive for her and the kids. Everybody reacts differently when they lose someone, so we just tried to be there for her and the kids.
So you didn't feel any animosity toward her at all?
No.
This came up yesterday, and I asked you about it today. Did you invest some money? with the
I did.
bank? Did you get it back?
Oh, so she has a motive to lie.
She's another happy customer.
Yeah.
just so we're clear here, were you ever the treating physician assistant for Mr. Cochran?
No, sir.
Has your testimony been tainted by,
I'm going to object to this question. It's vouching the witness.
I think I have to sustain the objection.
did the loss of the money
I read her plea deal yesterday. She only pled guilty to 2 out of, I think, 26 charges against her, and they just wanted to forfeit on all the goods. But again, if you read what not apprehended, confiscated from her, all of it was men toys, motorcycles, ATVs, cars. It was hard seeing how he could have all of these toys, running a business with her and not knowing that there must be a whole heck of a lot of money coming in. And again, any witness who will testify and they say, well, I lost my house because I invested in a company, I'll take it with a grain of salt.
did Mrs. Cochran cause you to change your testimony today?
No.
Same
I'll
thing.
allow that. I'll allow that.
No, it did not.
Glad you said that because the defense kind of implied from time to time that could happen. Did you?
Move to strike that comment, Judge?
Oh, we've given both sides some leeway in that. I'll deny the motion.
Crispy bacon.
Crispy.
Were you aware that the defendant's house was searched?
I was. She actually called me from her mother's phone that same day and told me that they were there and they were taking things.
Did you say anything else about the search?
Later, I went to her house because I felt like there were so many conflicting stories that I wanted her to look at me and tell me what was going on, the truth.
What'd you say?
She told me that they had taken everything from the house. I asked her what was going on. She said she didn't know. And she told me that they had taken everything. They had even taken insulin that she had in the refrigerator.
God, just a moment, please.
Sure.
For the questions of Ms. Hamilton.
Thank you. Cross-examination, Mr. Richard.
Ms. Hamilton, you have a lot of medical experience, I take it. Can you buy Humalog over the counter?
No,
No?
you can buy Humulin over the counter, but
So-
not Humalog.
Okay. Can you buy any kind of medication, insulin, over the counter?
There is one insulin that you can buy over the counter, usually at Walmart.
Okay. So if we turn on the phone and see all kinds of products like that online, would I require a prescription for
Most of them.
most of
Yes.
them? Okay, just couldn't get them online without a prescription.
Right.
Right. Okay. Well, how much did you invest in Natalie and Mr. Cochran's business?
What about Mexican
I think the
drugs?
total was somewhere between $15,000 and $17,000.
So you have $15,000 or $17,000 worth of disliking my client.
Yes, but I talked to her until the very end.
All right. All right. You're not particularly happy about losing money to her business, are you?
No, I'm not happy about it, but life goes on.
That goes on. And somehow between the time when you had this great friendship with my client and now you don't like her anymore, do you? Yes or no, ma'am?
I don't dislike her.
Or you don't dislike
I
her?
always try to find the
No,
good
no,
in
no, no,
everyone.
ma'am, please, yes or no? You don't like her anymore, do you?
I don't like the actions that she did.
All right. All right. Now, let's start with Michael. Is it true, ma'am, that Michael, well, you've known them for years, right? That Michael went to the hospital on at least 3 prior occasions between December of 2017 and November 2018.
I only know one time. That was November 2018.
Okay. All right. And during that time, do you know that he had a seizure-like activity?
Natalie told me that he had a seizure.
Do you have from any?
I do not know that for a fact. No.
Well, I didn't ask you that. Hold on, listen to my question, please. You don't
She
know.
did answer his question.
Yes, that's right.
I said, do you know from any independent sources?
No.
Okay.
Her.
Ma'am, please. Yes or no will suffice.
What do you mean independent?
Do you
sources?
know from any sources such as review of the documents?
No,
from
I
any-
didn't have his medical records.
All right. Is it true, ma'am, from the medical standpoint, that people who have seizure tend to urinate on themselves?
Yes, if they lose muscle control.
So the fact that Mr. Cochran may have urinated on himself if he had a seizure would not be abnormal.
No.
But, all right. A man of, how much did he weigh approximately? You know,
I don't know. Maybe 180.
I think again it was good when he did it with the police officer yesterday because he got really long-winded, and when the defense was there, maybe treat this lady a little bit different. It comes off a little bit harsh.
I don't know.
how tall was he?
Maybe 5'7", 5'8".
All right.
Huh.
How
Yeah,
much Humalog would he have to be injected to cause an immediate collapse?
I'm not sure.
Well, let's say a vial. How much of the
We have no medical records.
vial, a standard vial of Humalog, as you probably know as a physician's assistant, what that is, right?
Sir, everyone's different
Right.
and how their body reacts to it. I may take 2 units and bottom out, but you may take 1 and bottom out.
Entire units, right?
No, 2 units is what we measure
A
the
little bit.
insulin by.
A little bit.
Not millimeters, it's units.
A vial may have 12 milliliters. How many milliliters would it take for somebody to collapse immediately? Of that weight?
I don't
That weight
know.
structure.
It's
Oh.
whatever his body can handle.
So you have no idea whether he was injected with any type of Humalog at all.
I do not know.
You don't know, ma'am, whether any type of insulin bottle or vial that may have been found in my client's house 4 months after February, that would be June, had anything to do with any type of injection of insulin into the alleged victim.
I do not know.
You have no idea. But you know that Michael was sick before, right?
The one time.
That one time. Well, did you know that seizure-like activity, that's a pretty serious condition, isn't it? If he has seizures. Yes?
Yes.
He also had urinary retention. That can be a pretty serious condition if he was diagnosed with that.
Okay.
Serious condition? Could be.
Not really.
No,
It's more
not
of an
really.
inconvenience than anything.
Inconvenience? If you cannot urinate and get toxic,
You can.
that can be very serious, man.
Right.
Right. Toxic effects of any type of medication, reaction to medication. Could that be serious?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't have a
He was
problem with
diagnosed
this
first
either.
with brain mass.
I don't
Now,
mind
that could be very serious. Then it was changed to encephalopathy. Do I pronounce it correctly?
Yes.
What is that, ma'am?
That's infection or swelling of the brain.
So brain swelling. And that was
No, so far we don't know. They found a vial of insulin 4 months later in her refrigerator. So we know the body, it wasn't cremated. So then I don't know if they exhumed it and did a drug test on it, and we get it. That's where the insulin, or they just saw the insulin and said, well, she must have spiked him. I'm looking at, I'm Googling how much insulin before you crash, and I can't find anything.
I did say in the opening statement that the doctors will test that he had some sort of insulin in the system, but we'll see. We'll see
Yeah,
what
but
that
it could just
comes.
be low blood sugar as an indicator there's insulin there. That's it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to hear. But no one saw. She didn't say she injected anything. He didn't. Nobody knows. That's
No,
so funny.
nobody knows the
Nobody knows.
insulin she got. Nobody knows the injections.
Well, even the defense attorney said that it wasn't like it wasn't the bottle or whatever was still full, so that's
Yeah.
why they're like, "What are you talking about?" But anyways,
So, yeah, and I am Arlene. Thank you for thanking us for changing trials. This is way better because this is real lawyer work. Like him or not, he's fighting, and in this case, at least, he has some reasonable doubt to chase. There was nothing in the John Chen case.
yeah, the Chen case.
Oh, insulin levels can spike because of seizures. Interesting.
I
Well,
think
you
I
need a
can
little
feel
song.
all of it. Yeah.
It literally depends on your body, your metabolism, your pancreas. There is no magic number for old people. Okay. The only thing I get is if you have more than 30 or 40 IE a day, you should switch to dosing twice a day instead of having it at once. So that's what I can find.
That is a pretty serious diagnosis,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yeah, and like Ray just saying too.
When
That
he went
it
to the
depends on your
hospital
body.
Yeah, what
in
you-
November, he was also confused, right?
Right.
He was
Yeah, I looked up insulin and steroids because that's a common mix that bodybuilders use. Because insulin will open your cells up so that you could put more glucose into them. Because you treat the body to think I need to obtain more sugar, so you can grow your muscles more. So a lot of bodybuilders use insulin to be bigger. But the problem is if you put them together with test, you can have seizures. So again, if they get someone in testifying, well, he was on roids and he did insulin, that's why he couldn't get it from Mexico all the time. So I know that the lady across the street would give it to me if I just told the fake C story, and that's how because he was so violent and I was afraid, so I got him the insulin. It's hearsay just as much as the rest of it, but it's a believable story if you have a doctor who can come in and testify how bodybuilders use those two in combination.
belligerent and fighting, right?
Yes. Well, I didn't see that part.
Okay.
I saw him sedated and he was,
Okay. But you knew from him and from anybody else for that matter that he hated being in hospitals.
he never told me that.
He never told you that.
Right.
Well, did you know from my client? That
Yeah, but he
Michael.
wasn't cremated.
Yes, she
hated
said
being-
it that day at the house, that's why she didn't want to take him to the hospital, as he would be mad. And I told her to blame me.
Okay. Now, I want to ask you one more thing about this Humalog. Humalog, if injected, takes about 15 minutes of delayed reaction, right?
He wasn't
And then it reacts.
diabetic.
Well, insulin reacts in the human body, right? After
Right.
about 15 minutes, and then it subsides, right?
I don't know,
Right.
Brandon.
So if I'm jabbed with the needle,
I think
and
it's
somebody
first degree.
injects a couple of milliliters of this Humalog in me, I'm not gonna just not react, right? And the medication itself will not react in my body yet, right?
Right.
So I will have about 15 minutes to call for help.
Right. That's
I-
if you knew you were injected. Right.
Well, right. Well, would you agree with me that if somebody comes and injects you in a certain part of your body, or maybe somewhere else on your body, that you will know that you got injected, right?
Right.
Once you know,
That's actually a really good line of questioning. Because if you
Hmm.
didn't instantly keel over, then why didn't he react to being stabbed with a needle? Did she trick him into it? It's going to be interesting. I like this case, Jamie. You were right.
I mean, that's a good point because I didn't really think of that. Like, I mean, I wasn't thinking of it until you said it, but yeah, like, it's not gonna be instantaneous. I can't imagine.
No, I thought
That's just-
for me to buy it, yeah, he would have to keel over instantly. Farrell, the case is this young lady, no, not this one, the accused lady ran a Ponzi scheme She's serving 11 years. Her husband died right before all of it blew up. The state claims she injected him with insulin, made him go into a coma, and passed away within 5 or 6 days. Because he was about to spill the beans on her. He just found out that they were running a Ponzi scheme that they had ran for some time. So far, the state don't really have the goods for me to convict her, because all of it is circumstantial. And what the financial guy told us yesterday, it looked like Michael had no problem helping her spend all the money, and they ran the business together. He knew what was coming in. How did he not know about the Ponzi scheme? They couldn't prove that he was just about to go to the police or anything. So it's going to be a very interesting case to follow. Maybe the next witness will put all in a different light, but I see so much reasonable doubt in this case.
You're injected. You have about 15 minutes or so.
I want to hear some of the medical stuff.
Person who injected you,
Yeah.
what the heck did you do that for, right?
True.
Or what the heck is happening here, right? And maybe get the daylight out of the person who injected you, right?
Beat the
then-
daylight, is what you
To
said.
call 911 doesn't take that long, and say, hey, I've been injected with something by my dear wife. I need help. Desperately. She won't tell me what it is. So he would have the time to react to that
Great observation, Kim.
injection, wouldn't he?
It's her friend who came over. She's a nurse practitioner. Came over and saw him when he was passed out on the couch, and apparently got her drugs whenever she needed some roids or anything. She just read a prescription, no problem. And Jamie has promised me when she comes to Denmark, she will get me the blue man steroids.
No, I will
Maybe.
not.
Maybe. Right. And yet we have no record whatsoever.
You can't see the tax report because they hadn't filed income taxes since 2017. Said that yesterday, and the forensic investigator didn't know that.
Of this alleged victim calling anybody for any help or assistance. Correct?
Okay.
So we have no idea why he collapsed, do we?
No.
Now, I'm going to ask you this. Mr. Cochran
Toxicology. What?
was
She said
at one time,
tox report.
I'm sure you
right?
know,
Who said what?
Toxicology. What did she say? Did you say tax or tox? Because I thought she said tox report. So toxicology report.
I said, oh, the tox. Well, you can't see the tax either. Mhm.
That's what they were saying.
It's enough that Marissa is, oh, he can't spell. Well, I can't read either. I am a functioning late in French.
diagnosed with
That I
acute
can't read.
encephalopathy,
Okay.
the acute brain swelling. And he was prescribed a medication, and I'll try my best to pronounce it correctly. Lamotrigine. Did I say it right?
What is it?
Lamotrigine?
Okay.
Lamotrigine?
Okay.
It's a serious medication, isn't it?
Mhm.
Very serious medication. And if you don't take it for your brain swelling, you may be dead pretty soon.
Right.
Do you know that Mr. Cochran
That's an anti-epilepsy and anti-epilepsy medicine to control seizures.
Yeah, they said he was on seizure medication and then he stopped taking it. I mean, they
Yeah.
said it in their testimony.
And if he stopped taking that, yeah, that's the reason he had a seizure.
refused to take the
That's again, the reasonable doubt case is what this should be known.
medication?
He did not tell me anything about that
Huh? So do you know from anybody that he refused to take that medication?
from the defendant. Yes.
No, lamotrigine.
Did you also know that he was prescribed a
Said he
medication
was.
called Keppra? What is
Keppra.
Keppra?
Keppra is a seizure medication.
Anticonvulsive medication.
Yes.
Treats epilepsy, treats seizures, can also treat hemorrhaging, right? subdural hemorrhaging?
Sometimes, yes.
Sometimes. Did you know that he refused to take that medication?
I did not.
The way you knew Mr. Cochran, he always appeared a model of health to you.
Yes.
didn't he was a man's man,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Very fit, healthy.
Very fit, healthy, pumped iron, right?
Yes.
Wanted to be Arnold Schwarzenegger, wanted to be, Mr. Universe. True?
I don't know about that. I think he liked to be fit because he coached a lot of sports.
Did he ever express the desire to participate in any bodybuilding competitions?
No, sir.
No. Okay. For that, he was using a certain amount of steroids, wasn't he?
I did not know that.
Didn't know that he was using supplements?
Not from him.
It's just the defendant?
The defendant told me the day at the house when he got sick that he had been taking some kind of supplements from Mexico that she had
Yes.
found. Later, she sent me a link to those supplements.
And did you look at those supplements?
Yes, the link that she sent me, they were not from Mexico.
All right. Those supplements, quote unquote, some of them were not for human consumption, were they?
I only knew of one.
Which was what?
I don't remember the name of it, but she sent me a link.
Okay. And actually, did you know that Mr. Cochran used all kinds of links on his computer to purchase substances that may have been less than medically approved by our American standards?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I just get Jamie to send it to me.
Did you know whether he was
What?
getting any shipments of any medication directly to his home?
Only what she had said that day.
Okay. Now, you were so well acquainted with the family that you ever, I'm sure you talked to the children about.
No.
No,
did
you
not.
never talked to the children about that?
No.
About, okay. Okay.
Yes.
Let me also ask this. When Michael went to the hospital in late October, did you know that he only stayed there one day in the hospital?
No.
Well, did you know that he had a similar, if not identical, episode of a seizure? He had an acute respiratory failure. Did you know that?
He was in the hospital in November. That was when we had went down there that night.
I
But
didn't
I
ask-
never knew the exact.
I didn't ask you that. I asked you whether you knew that he stayed in the hospital prior to that in October, at the end of October,
No.
with all the same symptoms that he had in November.
No, I only know about the November
Okay.
one.
Well, what do you know about his mold exposure?
She told me later that they thought it was mold. That was like a month later. She told me they thought it was mold from a house that he was remodeling.
Did you have any mold in your house?
Do I?
Did you at that time?
No.
You said that it was from the mold in your house?
No, a house
sorry, I
he was
couldn't-
remodeling.
Okay, from the remodeling. Okay. Now, he also had a convulsive status epilepticus. That was one of the diagnoses, and maybe you will tell the jury what that is. Convulsive status epilepticus.
That he had seizure disorders with convulsions.
Epilepsy?
Epilepsy.
Acute respiratory failure. Something that I'm seem to having right now. Anyway, what is
Oh
acute
my God.
respiratory
He's
failure?
not-
It's when your lungs quit pumping out the capacity to breathe.
Okay.
So you go into stress.
But he also had altered mental status. Was he in distress at the time when he went to the hospital in November?
I did not see him in distress.
Well,
Jamie, what's happening?
No, when he starts coughing and he was like, I'm having an acute respiratory distress right now or something, whatever he said. I just thought that was just so odd. Like an odd thing to say. You're talking about this guy's like ailments. He's like, I think I'm experiencing that right now.
I like him. He's a funny character, but he still shouldn't over talk her. So,
That made me laugh. Whew.
and I think why he's asking all of these questions is because she kind of said, well, I knew all about them, and she really didn't.
Yeah.
That's why he's asking all of these questions, because how would she know how that day-to-day medication looked? That's probably why he's asking these questions.
Mhm.
And I'm just going to be back in a second. I need to pop some pain pills.
Did you see him a couple of days before February the 6th?
I think it was about a week before that I saw
No.
him.
Did he appear under any stress to you?
No.
He was just his usual,
Yes.
healthy, wonderful
Yes.
self.
Yes.
And yet he had all these conditions that were diagnosed at the time of his demise, didn't he? Do you know?
I do not know that. I only knew about the seizure that she said that day, that he had seizure disorder.
Okay. And what's hypoxia?
It's when your oxygen's low.
Okay. What's hypercapnia?
Hyper what?
I think it's hypercapnia. Or maybe I'm mispronouncing it.
Hypercapnia.
Uh-huh.
It's when you kind of go into a metabolic state because your respiratory system's low.
And would it surprise you that that was what was the final diagnosis
Because his breathing was down?
of his at the hospital? Would it surprise you?
No, because his respirations were down.
Now, I want to ask you this. When you now the when you tested Michael, when you went there, approximately 1:30, something like that.
About 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
Yes.
His pulse was normal. His saturation was normal. His blood pressure was slightly elevated. It was what, 168 over 103, slightly elevated.
Sir, I did not check those. Those were what she had checked. I did not do any vitals except for temperature when I was there.
Okay. All right. Now, will the brain swelling cause any sugar reaction in your body?
So usually sugar, when your sugar drops, or you have an influx, too much insulin that the body secretes out, or you given, your brain will swell from that.
And of course, that's a mutual reaction. The brain swells and the sugar drops.
If you go in a coma.
So he has an ongoing condition of a brain swelling, and you're surprised that his sugar went down?
Yes.
I see. All right. Okay. If I may have a second.
I mean, I like him.
Did you see any other individuals in the house of Natalie Cochran when Michael was already on the couch?
No, just Natalie and my husband were there.
Natalie and your husband, a police officer.
Yes.
What is his rank? Sergeant? Lieutenant?
Corporal.
Corporal, I'm sorry. And you were aware of the fact that there were two employees of TSG who moved Michael from the floor to the couch, right?
Yes, I did ask who moved him, and that's what they told me, but they were not there. when
No,
I
they
was
were
there.
not. They're already left, right? And that at some point, Mr. Davis showed up, right?
Not while I was there.
Not you were there. From your medical knowledge, if Natalie Cochran left Michael unattended like this, in this condition on the floor, would he have expired?
Most likely, yes.
Most likely, yes. And yet this cold-blooded killer had all kinds of people in the house to monitor his condition. Is that right?
To monitor it,
Well, to do something.
I did not monitor his condition.
All right, well,
Came, looked at him, told her what to do, and I left. I was there 28 minutes, sir.
but I want to ask you this, ma'am. Whether the presence of any other people in that house negates the possibility that she would just leave him there alone to die. And nobody would know. Is that possible?
That's a question I don't think this witness can
No.
answer.
I think
I don't know who exactly was at the house. I only saw who I saw.
you testified on direct that Michael reacted to your suggestion to take his temperature, right?
He turned his head.
Turn his head. So he was still reacting.
Yes.
All right. Now, did you say something to the effect that there were some words like "don't punch me"?
Yes.
Who said that?
I said that because if he's asleep and he wakes up and I'm just standing over top of him and he startles,
Okay.
could be his first reaction.
Okay.
It would be anybody.
Okay. So the sum total of your testimony, ma'am, is that you have no idea what kind of substances were in Michael's body on February the 6th, right?
I do not know what was in his body on February 6th.
Well, did you find any syringe in?
No,
Did you see any syringe in?
I did not see anything.
Okay.
I only stayed right there in that chair.
Okay. And you don't know what kind of medication Michael was on prior to?
I do not.
And you don't know what medication he refused to take or didn't take?
The only thing she said was that he refused to take his seizure medicine they had given him.
Yes. I may have a second. Was there a glucose meter in the Cochran's residence?
I did not see one.
Okay. I think so. Thank you.
All right, redirect, Mr. Truman.
Thank you. The defense asked you if it would be reasonable that someone injected would have a few minutes, like 15 minutes, to call 911. There's an underlying assumption, isn't there, that the victim was awake?
I'm going to object to the
Oh,
prosecutor's
okay.
meeting.
Go ahead. Let me answer, please.
That Mr. Cochran was awake when he was injected. Wouldn't that be part of what the defense was asking you?
That's what I'm gathering.
So if Michael Cochran had been sedated or was not awake, he wouldn't necessarily follow the defense theory that he'd have 15 minutes to call 911.
Right.
Judge, that calls for other speculation.
Well, I'm going to have to overrule the objection, but I'll preserve your exception.
Also, the defense asked you about circumstances where a blood sugar level of 21 would cause brain swelling. And you agree, correct?
Yes.
Does it work that way in reverse? Would a swollen brain cause blood sugar to drop to 21?
I would have to really research that, but I can't imagine why. It would be the opposite.
I'm going to object to that answer. Move to strike it. The witness doesn't know.
In fairness to the defendant, you don't know.
I don't know.
You also responded to a question concerning like or dislike of the defendant, and you stated that you didn't like her actions.
Right.
What did you mean by that?
Well, what she had done was with the money.
Now, that is, I'm objection. That's comment on the defendant's character.
Lying?
I'm going to overrule the objection. You may continue.
When you said lying, you felt that the defendant was being less than truthful with you. Was that just on one occasion?
Just several conflicting stories.
Okay, just a moment.
Yes.
You responded that you told the defendant to blame you. And what was that in reference to?
When I kept telling her he needed to go to the hospital, she said that he would be mad if he come to and was at the hospital. And he would be very upset because he didn't want to be at the hospital. So I told her to tell him that I had been there and I said he had to go. Blame me. I didn't care if he talked to me again or not.
Why did you lie? Why did you reach that?
Because I wanted him checked.
How important was that to you that you checked?
It was important to me.
Did you do that?
Yeah.
At least not until
She refused.
6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. That's all the questions the state has. Thank you.
Because
Conflicting stories, man.
What are you
have-
saying?
You have a story that you go to the Cochran's home. Michael, who apparently dropped on the floor, is now on a couch.
Mhm.
If there's nobody there, how you suspect that she just dragged him on the couch? Who took him to the couch?
I told you, I knew that the contractors had put him on the couch.
Now, do you have any evidence that Michael was injected to begin with?
I do not.
Do not, but that he was injected with anything while he was asleep
I do not.
at 11:30 during the day. You don't have any evidence of that,
No.
do you? Now, let's be perfectly clear right now. You are there in her house with a law enforcement officer, your husband,
Hmm.
with a man who is just about to die, according to you, or at least you want to check him out. You have a law enforcement officer who can enforce taking her to the hospital, can't he? He's a state trooper
No,
who sees a
no
person
one
to
can.
die.
No one can make someone go to the hospital. You cannot make
Well, you could get them to a psychic hospital.
a person go.
Okay. He is injected, and he is in this state of coma. And you are so concerned about the health of that person as a paramedic, or I'm sorry, as a physician assistant. Why don't you go step outside and call 911 yourself?
Because she refused. I can't make her do that.
You did not call 911. Your husband didn't call 911. You were convinced that from the medical standpoint, this man was in serious trouble, right?
I said he needed to be checked. He needed to go to the hospital, further testing. I didn't know what was going on with him.
Are you a mandatory reporter?
A medical reporter?
Mandatory reporter. That you have to report abuse or medical emergency, potential crime involving
If
medical.
it comes in and I suspect that, yes, and I have a chart and I know what's going on with them, yes.
Well, you suspected, you knew what was going on with him, and yet, as a mandatory, who would you have to call as a mandatory reporter? The
It
hospitals,
depends.
the police?
It depends on what it is. CPS.
Well, CPS. Well, you had the police right there. Your husband. You could have called the CPS. You could have called an ambulance as a mandatory reporter. Say, this man is dying. Take him to the hospital. Have him checked out by a doctor. You didn't do any of that.
I told her to take him, sir. She was his voice. I can't make her go.
You could have called.
From the mandatory reporter standpoint, if that person is, or even purely medical, if that person is unconscious,
It's not her.
isn't that a mandatory, or some kind of mandatory requirement that this person be taken to the hospital?
So he was sleeping when I was
Oh,
there.
he was sleeping.
And she said he had had seizures. People go to sleep after they have seizures, and that's what he looked like. He was in the
Well, maybe that's what
post-ictal
happened.
phase.
So you are not concerned because he has a normal seizure
History.
Yes, seizure history, and this is what people do when they have seizures. But she should have known he should have gone to the hospital. Again,
I mean,
it's
this is in hindsight because now he's
Yeah.
deceased. So you can say that now, but
yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, but I don't care if this person, this is just me, my opinion only and my perspective of this. If I was really concerned and my friend was like, no, I'm not gonna, I would call the ambulance anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, she doesn't have to,
Yes,
it's not an obligation, but she could have.
Well, if she's a mandatory reporter and she clearly had a suspicion something was very, really wrong, but she didn't because he was just sleeping, what is normal when people have had a seizure. So again, she's a little bit pregnant, which is impossible to be. She's not worried enough that she felt she had a mandatory obligation to report it, but she was so worried that the other person should have done it. Again, I think he's a little too objectively. Objecting. I said that yesterday as well, but he gets some good, reasonable doubt questions in there.
Has as far as you know.
I mean, call
Nothing to do
911 and
with
let her
the
assault you for that.
I do
So
not
Yeah.
I would have, to be honest, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Let this witness be excused.
So far as the state's concerned, yes, sir.
Subject to recall, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Hamilton, you are subject to recall. That means that you cannot stay in the courtroom, nor can you watch anything about.
No, and this is the good thing, Shore Life. Everyone's sitting here and say, well, he was injected with insulin. Who knew? Well, the wife, if she did it, would have known. The rest of them is just look at him saying, yeah, his blood pressure is a bit weird. It can happen when you have a seizure. The blood glucose that was all of a sudden 21 or whatever it dropped down to, that is a red flag, and you should instantly call the ambulance, no matter if he threatened you with anything. Get him to a hospital, because he will go into a coma and his brain will die. But other than that, as long as the vitals checks out, he was just sleeping. He was responding when you said his name. He wasn't in a coma. It's really easy afterwards to sit and say, well, I would have done. If you came over to your girlfriend's house and she said, hey, my husband had a seizure earlier, fell over on the floor, and he looks stable now, he's just sleeping a lot. What do you think? Would you say instantly call 911 and get him to the hospital? Or would you say, well, it happens a lot with people who have seizures, and he has a history of brain swelling, seizures. I would probably have asked if he's on some kind of medication or something, but again, it's different.
Well, yeah, and I
How
would be
to
like,
react.
well, what did you do last time? I mean, if this happened before, and they say, oh, yeah, and this is what happened, and this is what he did, and I'd be like, okay, well, then if that's what happened last time, and you feel comfortable, then yeah, you do you. Like,
Yeah, and again, I'm not saying that she's innocent. I'm just saying the
No.
defense is raising all the right questions.
yeah, and I like what Pokemon said. You know, we're not blaming her,
No,
but it's muddying the waters, which is a good argument. You know, it's a good argument to think about.
Yeah,
Like,
reasonable doubt arguments.
This case on TV or online.
Okay.
This means that you may be recalled later by the state or by the defense to testify.
Okay.
But you may step down.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take our mid-morning break at this time.
But yeah, I just like yesterday, I don't think that the state is batting. What's the high batting average, Jamie?
1,000. There you go. 1,000.
They are not batting highest batting average.
Well, in real life,
She's not. The state isn't batting 373.
you have to get so specific.
Yeah, that's because Josh Gibson has a batting average of 372.
Well, yeah,
So
you're not hitting it out of the park. That's what you could always say.
no, and this is what trials are about. Raise reasonable suspicion or reasonable doubt in the jury. Imagine sitting there listening to that. Would you say, well, she clearly did it? Until we hear, well, he had a very high insulin level that we couldn't explain, and he had a suspicious puncture wound right above his knee in the thigh, which probably isn't where you normally would. I think most bodybuilders either shoot it in the buttocks or in the stomach. Probably the buttocks, because you can cover it up when you're training. Would you right now say, well, send this woman away forever?
No.
That's the thing. Did she do it? I want to. We need the toxicology report before we can say that he was injected with something. But again, right now, let's do a poll.
Yeah. Well, and I agree about the mandatory reporting stuff. He said that, but there's a lot of levels to that. It's not necessarily just because she's a healthcare professional. She is under the law obligated to report all of this stuff. She has to know his medical history and what's going on with him. But just as a human being, if she was worried, I don't know, I would have butted myself in. But again, it's the whole fact of, if you're like, oh, okay, well, this has happened before, she may agree with her and just, and in hindsight, now you're like, oh, well, you should have took him to the hospital a lot sooner.
And Melissa, I know you're fighting really, really hard that this lady is guilty, but still, she has no other knowledge that she did anything, because she has no knowledge of what's in his system. Just that the friends said he didn't want to go to a hospital. So again, is it okay to deny sending your husband? Again, if he has a history of seizures, he has a normal seizure aftermath behavior going to sleep. Should she have known? Should this witness have known that this was a chemical-induced sleep he was in?
No.
It's for the state to prove. She doesn't have to disprove her guilt. The state has to prove her guilty. And I don't know. I need to see a tox screen before I'm 100% sure of the insulin, because what we know so far is there was a filled bottle of insulin found in the fridge. I don't think anything had been taken from that insulin.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's 4 months later. And I want to hear about her cancer treatment as well. Is it true? That will change a lot of things for me if she was lying about cancer. Maybe she was lying to get him insulin so he could do bodybuilding. Maybe she was lying about it so she could poison him with insulin. There's a lot of ifs and buts so far, and that's the thing.
But I get what Melissa was actually saying. She wasn't saying that. She was just talking about the witness in general.
Sorry, Melissa.
People were saying she should have done mandatory reported and stuff like that. And I could agree completely. It's not up to her. She would have
Melissa,
to really know his
I misread you.
medical history. But
Yeah.
But
And
yeah, she did only know information based off of what the defendant told her, which is true. But she also didn't act at all. So, I mean, in my eyes, I don't feel like she really thought it was that serious. Because if it was really that serious,
no, again,
I don't know, I would have intervened.
I probably would have as well. I would have said, "Are you sure he's peeing on himself? Shouldn't we just call an ambulance? Just have a doctor come out. We have doctors' ambulances, so they can send a doctor out to you and say, no, you don't have to go to the hospital. It's fine. Take an Advil. Take an Advil. See you in the morning." All of that. We have doctors who'll come to your house to see if you need hospital care.
Yeah.
And Brandon is right. The state's opening were refreshingly short, but now it seems like they had no evidence to talk about. Yeah, so far the evidence they have had is rumors.
Mm-hmm.
It's she was clearly a bad person, and she asked me for medication. They didn't really go into those texts. Think about it. They showed all of these texts. How much did they go into them? Not. I read more of them than they did. That's yeah. There's doubt, but my spidey senses are going nuts here. Yeah, that's the problem. The toxicology will probably clear up a lot of stuff.
Yeah, once we hear all that, then we might be changing our minds completely. Who knows?
Yeah. And Kim, yeah, if she could have taken, but again, who would you do that with your girlfriend, or would you just say, well, yeah, men, you know them? It's so hard because we're all experts because we're not in the case.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if her medical license or whatever you get as a PA is up, and this is being used. This could be used against her in a hearing and say, "Hey, you just prescribed all of this to them without talking to them because you knew them," it will sound really bad in a hearing like that.
Mhm.
So yeah. Yeah,
But again,
that's the funny thing. That's why the toxicology will also be really, really, if it has any at all, they must have done some blood work on him when he arrived if he was comatose. Maybe they can see it on that one. Yeah,
Mhm.
I just get worked up sometimes. It's because Jamie rattles me all the time.
No.
Hey, the goat farmer's here.
Hey, Val.
Blah, blah. Most likely scenario, Brandon. Even though Valhalla hasn't been above the Mason Dixon since he met his new friend on Elsie's channel the other day.
Most of the time when people have seizures, if it's a history of seizures, I know from experience on people in my life, they don't, maybe the first time they've gone to the doctor, but then after the fact, usually they don't. They just sleep. So I don't know.
Oh yeah, we have to have a poll. What is your furry persona? It really brings in the furries when we talk furry stuff. Only 49 voted, but 89% says they wouldn't find her guilty now. And again, it's not the time to discuss guilt. We are still in the opening phases, probably. I don't think this will turn into a financial Murdoch trial, but because the judge has temped that yesterday, but it's going to be interesting how much we have had their neighbors, we have had their friends, we have had victims of the Ponzi scheme. How much are they going to be able to bring into the case? They're going to have someone who searched the house and found the bottle of insulin. If he testifies the bottle of insulin was full, that'll be a problem for me. Because what's the proof she had another bottle of insulin she used to inject him with?
Well, that's what I mean. I'd like to see that too, because that's going to be a problem for me too. If they just have like, oh, we have this full bottle of insulin.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that doesn't prove anything.
Oh. Valhalla can give you a new goat. Yep. I like to dress up as a kangaroo, but mostly to show my pride. Hey, just another Aussie.
Emma,
You
did
found
you
it
think
hard to
this
follow?
trial?
I find this is a really interesting case.
Yeah.
But as we say in Denmark, some like the mother, some like the daughter. But we don't all love the same.
The other one was really boring.
Yeah, the other one was really, really boring. Yeah, that's another thing you can, and you can sit here but some criminals are just stupid. They leave the murder weapon in their house. You could go to the Las Vegas case where he ripped up his costume and hid it in his sofa. Why destroy the evidence and then keep it at your house? Criminals are stupid. And Danny T is trying to outpick Valhalla. Well, he will have an online auction, so you can pay for the goats with super chat money. First, we will have the naming stream where we will auction off names for the goats, and then later we will have the goat giveaway where any contribution of, I don't know, how much is a goat, Jamie? You probably bought a goat before, after I did it the last time. I never bought a goat.
I've never bought a goat before. I have no idea what they run nowadays.
How much is
What's the average price of a goat, Valhalla?
How
in
much is a
D&D?
goat worth? 200 for females and 150 for bucks. Any super chat over $200 will enter a raffle, and Valhalla will pay for shipping of a goat. I don't know. Don't trust me. I lie a lot.
I need to cook some eggs. I am starving.
You should. Yeah, toxicology is really interesting. You calm your face. If Valhalla is giving away goats, I need a little female for my boys. Or do I need Valhalla? Or do I need to? Valhalla knows that. Well, the financial stuff was really kicked out yesterday. We haven't talked much about it. Hey, Squid Pro Crow Raiders.
You got that?
Yeah, I got raided by Squid Pro Crow. Yeah, I got
like
that.
the way you say it.
It's
It
oh,
is a
that's
tongue
good. Just
twister.
another Aussie. Squid Pro Quo, not Crow. Oh, Baker can't speak English. Baker can't read English. Jamie, today has been a bad day. People are mean.
Baker can't speak English. Oh boy.
Hey, Squid Pro Quo. I must over enunciate your name, or Sue won't get it. Thank you for the raid. Sounded like Grandpa Baker. Well, I'm mad.
You're mad. Get out of here.
Quid pro quo is Latin, if that makes you feel any better. Well, yeah, it means something for something else. So, quid pro quo is when I do you a solid and you do me a solid.
Oh.
So it's a play on that, Sue. If you didn't get that, there's no crows involved. Probably no squids involved either.
Yeah.
I'm just going to blame Sue for everything today.
You should.
I should. Thank you, Jamie. Jamie
You should
ordered me.
spread. You should spread out the love of hate of us ladies, because I need a break.
I don't hate you, Jamie. You hate me.
Never.
This for that, or tit for tat. That's what Valhalla will have in the meetup in Tennessee. He will have tit for tat. So if you show him, he will give you a tattoo.
You hear that, Valhalla?
Res ipsa loquitur. I only know qui custa custodes, who watches the watchers. And jacta est alia, the dice are rolled. Per aspera ad astera, over the stars to victory, or something like that. Sic transit gloria mundi. This is how all the glories of heavens are destroyed. I don't know if I know more. Hey, Direxay. You are, Sue. You can handle it. Jamie is unusually mean today. Thank you.
No, I'm not. Never. I'm the sweetest. I did just crack an entire eggshell into my scrambled eggs, and that's annoying.
Yes, this is the exchange. No, he will tattoo you. He has a tattoo gun. Yeah, and right after Mrs. Valhalla will probably stabulate you. Don't worry about it. She's nice when she's not mad. Well, no one really says I speak bad English. It's just when I F up some words. I don't know who any. Oh, I know Rubio. I know who that is. I was in the newspapers when I was like 5 or 6 with a man who he was like the Danish version of country music singing, and his name was Baker. I think Baker Jørgen or something like that. So it was destined that I would be the baker today. That was the first time I was in the newspaper. Well, she'll probably still smack you around a bit. Someone has all the Swasia today. If I know Jamie right, she would probably induce the seizure.
I would do not, and nothing. Come on. Well, yeah, you don't want CPR for me. I don't know how to do it properly. I do the poker with my finger and be like, hey, wake up. Are you okay? Wake up.
Yeah, they're fine. They were grunting when I kicked them.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh.
Didn't he say 20 minutes? They've been going for half an hour again. They are so late all the time.
I know. He's usually been pretty on point.
Good morning, Ditch Piddle Huntress. How you doing this fine morning? You have 73% Swasia. Bum, ba-dum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, ba-da-ba. La, da, 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 da. Well, I tried. I'm not sure that's how it works. How is goat milk? Never had it. I tried goat cheese. Didn't like it. It was really.
I heard goat cheese is good. What's wrong with it?
Well, the one I had, I don't know if. I would describe it kind of like having like a kind of funky manure-like taste. It was weird. I didn't like it. Marissa calls it tangy. It's oh, this is the highest we've had in a long time. Tess is 99% Swasia.
Nice.
But I don't. I know if you want to consume goat products, you want to keep the dough separated from the bucks. So no doughs are allowed in Milwaukee. That was a basketball joke, Jamie.
I don't understand the joke. There's
Milwaukee
no
Bucks.
dogs. Milwaukee Bucks?
Yeah, it's
Who
a
are the
basketball
Milwaukee
team.
Bucks? Oh, I don't follow basketball.
You
I
had
have
to
no
keep
idea.
the dough separated from the bucks. So
Oh boy. That was a good one. I'm slapping my knee. I am hilarious. Yeah, I don't know. The basketball teams are named always some weird. I only know the Pistons because they're from here.
they used to be a winning team, but a dirty team back in the day.
Yeah, they were. I don't know how good they're doing anymore.
I don't know. I don't follow basketball.
But you knew the Milwaukee Bucks. That's pretty good.
Yeah, of course I do. I followed basketball a lot back in the Jordan days.
Oh, the Jordan days.
Yeah, because that was back when Patrick Ewing was playing for the Knicks, and the Knicks were okay.
Oh yeah, you and your New York teams.
Yeah, he was probably one of the best centers who didn't win a ring. He should have won it, but he played for New York. Giannis Okokolo. Is he? No, that's Zion Williamson who's getting super fat. They think they're kind of tired of him. And where is it he plays? Is it? I think it's Orlando. Yeah, doesn't he play for the Magics? He had an injury and he came back. He was fatter than Shaq when he stopped. Cleveland and Oklahoma City looks good right now. Yeah, I know OC has been great for a couple of years. Antetokounmpo. He's Greek, right? Oh, Farrell. Look at you. 4% as mean as Jamie.
Only 4?
Yeah.
That's
What are we waiting for? Nobody knows. They had their mid-morning break. I think he said 20 minutes, and it's been almost 40 now. He plays for the Bucks. Yeah, stay away from Bucks milk. Don't put it in the cheese.
Bucks milk.
I love that Reddit has a post saying, "Hey all, my husband is interested in buying a 6-month-old goat from our neighbors to have processed for us to eat. All in, we are looking at about $650, including processing. Can anyone tell me if this is worth it from an economic standpoint? It seems like a lot to me for a goat. A 6-month-old will not have much on it yet. I wouldn't pay that much. How much does a goat weigh? Some of the meat goat breeds give a good amount of meat, maybe 150 before processing, say half after, so 80 pounds of goat for $650. That seemed like an insane price. Until about 5 years ago, I kept a breeding herd of mixed boers. That is not a neighborly price for a goat. You're probably talking about 40 pounds or so of meat by the time all is said and done. When you want a larger goat for meat, make sure it's a wether. Billies get an odd taste. Boers are big, so lots of meat theoretically, but there is a difference between the wether and the billy. You can go to a local livestock auction and get a goat for $25, or you could find a newer homesteader who started out with goats because they are so cute and is now desperate to be rid of the demon beast. Hey, that's Valhalla. Aim for somebody who is about 2-3 years in and look for cars with missing windshield wipers and houses with obvious chewing on their siding, and get one for free. That's if you're 7 feet tall and you go to is a fadeaway jumper that cranks off the rim, putting you out of position to get the rebound, you might be a jackass. Unnamed Ewing. He was good. That's a nice flag. It's the American flag. And it's a maritime court because it has fringes on it. I was just reading up on Goat Reddit.
Goat Reddit.
Don't give her imagine her and a goat in the same room. Weather is a fixed point goat. Oh, interesting. He was a good center, Brandon. If you got find a goat for $25, don't buy it. It's about to die. Well, if you want to eat it, it's gonna be croaking anyway. You don't have to pay the butcher.
What? Don't take advice from Baker.
Don't eat live goats like Jamie.
I wouldn't even eat a goat in general, so it's too fancy. That's fancy meat. I don't like fancy meats.
Just heat it enough. It'll be fine.
I'll eat a hot dog. I don't care. But I don't eat goat meat or lamb, sheeps. I don't like deer. What else is there? Elk. Ugh.
Hey, Jinx, how are you doing?
No rabbits.
Do they have vanilla bourbon hot dogs? That sounds horrible.
Vanilla bourbon hot dogs does sound horrible.
Yeah. But you would eat it if you could get anything vanilla or bourbon flavored. Jamie doesn't like anything that's not highly processed. That's
No, I just like beef.
don't eat things with a face, then stop tasting as well as they do.
Yeah, stop being so delicious.
Yeah.
No, I don't like deer. It's too gamey for me.
Yeah. For once we would like to Jamie is such a picky eater.
I like beef. I like beef, lots of beef, all beefs, steaks, ground beef, all of it. I like chicken. I like turkey.
I like
I like cheese.
the daffodils. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-dee. Da-do-da-da-da-dee. I don't like chicken, but I do like bacon. And I don't really like any bird, any poultry, other than stuff that's been in the deep fryer. Yeah, we are a pork-based country.
Oh, pork too. Pork's good.
Yeah, I'm gonna give her James, when they get over here, the first thing we're gonna do is go to the Copenhagen Central Station and get them a hot dog, a real hot dog, not all that weird American. Oh, we put sauerkraut and cheesy fries and ground beef stew on it. It's yum yum. No, give you a real hot dog.
What's a real hot dog? Explain.
A real hot dog is a hot dog bun, a roasted sausage, ketchup, mustard, remoulade.
What's that?
That's a Danish thing. You'll love it. Roasted onions, fresh onions.
No
and-
onions.
Shut up. And some sliced pickles on top. Yum yum, can't go wrong.
Mm.
Well, then remember to fry it first. I have no problem with pork. Do
I
you
like
eat baby dogs? How about for super chats? No, I don't do stuff for super chats. But Valhalla unalives baby dogs for. Yeah, exactly, Jinx. Shut up and taste it, Jamie.
I don't like onions or pickles.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about it's the full thing combined. You need to have it all in one. We
The other
don't do
stuff
bail,
sounds
bail in
just
Denmark,
fine.
so no bail money needed. They can't hold them more than 24 hours anyway.
Yeah. They'll set us free.
Well, you go by Swedish standards, so I don't listen to you. The easiest way to explain remoulade, it's a mayo-like substance with small pieces of pickle and other stuff in it. Yeah, a little bit of curry in it as well.
Curry? I've never
Yeah.
had curry before. I wanted to try curry.
I think we should just go to an Indian restaurant and give you. Sadly, the only Indian restaurant I ever was. We have a health certificate with a smiley face on it, so you can tell by how sad the smiley face is, how bad they did on their last health service report. And when I was leaving the restaurant, I saw they got the absolute worst. I was fine. It tasted great. Didn't die on the can the next day, so I'm fine.
Oh, okay.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, just say, don't you know who I am? I'm American. We love when people tell us you're American. Right now is probably the best time to be American in Denmark.
Just decked out in American flag stuff,
Oh, yeah.
like a psycho.
Remoulade tastes nothing like mayo. No, I say it like it's supposed to be said.
He did tell me to shut up, Iris. He
I
told
won't
me
do,
to shut up.
I won't make balls and curry for them. I'll take them out to dinner. I don't have a place to cook in Copenhagen, and I can't cook, so I wouldn't do that to them.
Isn't that
This
like
is a trust.
big thing for you guys? Like, you had curry on your meatballs or something, like a curry meatball?
We have what's called balls and curry. That's meatballs in a curry sauce.
It's supposed to be
That,
like
that's what she just suggested I made for you.
oh,
You eat it with rice. It's really good, especially if you get the good strong curry, so it has some flavor to it. A lot of people make it with too little curry. This is a trust tree. Just admit the dogs drank all the beer spilled on the floor, and we can move on. Yeah, Valhalla. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Chocolate. It's because there's a Norwegian comedy sketch where how Swedish people say chocolate. How Norwegian people say chocolate.
Oh, Lord.
Chocolate. How Danish people say chocolate. Because they don't understand real languages. Can we take a second and acknowledge that a Dane just tried to tell a bunch of Americans what a hot dog is supposed to be? great task for overcoming? Well, someone has to tell you that your hot dog culture is horrible. First of all, why no roasted sausages? It's all these softly boiled, wimpy. It looks like a 60-year-old guy in nudist colony when he gets excited.
Oh my God.
It's just
I
soft and
prefer like the beef sausages versus
no, it's
just
not.
a
No,
regular
you
hot
need
dog.
you need a real hot dog. It has to be fried, not that boiled crap. And those weird sausages. I don't like American sausages. It's weird. They're weird. It's I think they blend the meat too much. I like a little texture. A real hot dog is wrapped in bacon and has salsa. Iris, you're in for a surprise.
Oh my God. No. Yeah, who's boiling their hot dogs? I mean, yuck.
All you weird
Gotta
Yanks,
grill 'em.
those I've seen pictures from over there. It has nothing to do with hot dogs. Well, we put sloppy joes on it, and then it's a real hot. No, shut up. Oh, they are too low res, so I can't show it.
I love Polish sausages. Polish kielbasas. They all look good. I prefer them over regular hot dogs.
This is what you need. This is a real hot dog. Mm-mm-mm.
How is that a sausage though? It looks like one of those Vienna hot dogs that I'm
This is a sausage, Jamie.
not a fan.
The sausage is a product where you take a meat mixed with some spices or something, stuff it inside. Back in the day, it was the intestines of a sheep. Today, you'll use an artificial one. Maybe if you're lucky, you still get the best is when it's intestines, and then you put it. The sausage is the shape. It's not. That's not a certain. I know. Oh, Meyer sausages. No, that's just a brand name. This one is made with what's called a Langländer. That's the greatest sausages on the world. But I'm going to force feed this into you and Iris, and you will then say, "We have been wrong our entire life. Salsa is a cheap product next to remoulade." We're not going to go to one of those fancy places where they have, oh, we put sun-dried tomatoes and Tabasco. So, no, you need it at what's called a sausage wagon, where you stand outside, you drink your cocktail, which is a chocolate milk, you eat your hot dog.
Chocolate milk and hot dogs? You
Stop.
guys are something.
Stop. It's like people saying, well, you haven't tried my grits. You have to try the right one. You will find out it's a symbiotic thing, and you will instantly fall in love with it, and you will never want to eat anything else. No, you probably sent me something like a chili dog or something. That's just weird. Let's put some sloppy joes in a bun. No, let's not. Let's eat it with some pasta like normal people.
Who's normal people? I don't think any of
Danish.
us here are normal. If you say so.
Tell me Valhalla's picture of what he claims is a hot dog is better.
Let me see. Isn't that supposed to be like a Chicago hot dog?
This looks absolutely nasty. You have carrots, a pickle, some relish, poppy seeds on the bun, and I hate soft onions. I don't like fry. It should be deep fried onions. I don't like soft onions. But they caramelize. I don't like them.
They're tomatoes, not carrots. That's what he said.
That has nothing to do with a tomato. I'm sorry to say.
Chicago dog. The bun looks delicious. I've never had a real Chicago dog. I just like conies. So we have a lot of Detroit style conies here. They better hurry up and get back. Baker. And yeah, but those are really good, Valhalla. That's what I like. I don't like pickles and tomatoes and all that onions junk. So
I'm just going back to check that they said we're not going to lunch yet.
So far as the state's concerned, yes, sir. Subject to recall.
You cannot.
no, he just said break.
Or online.
Okay.
Morning break.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take our mid-morning break. At this time, we'll break for 10 or 15 minutes. Please do not discuss the case among yourselves or with anyone
What the hell
else.
happened? 10 or 15 minutes? It's an hour since they left.
Has it been?
Yeah, it's been 55 minutes since they went on break.
Are you serious?
This is why you don't watch on Lawn and Crim. You watch on a commentator, because then we can talk about hot dogs and find out what furry personality we have in chat.
Well, I better hurry up. I have a meeting at 11:30, and then I'll be back. Like now I want to know all the hot dogs in all the states, because doesn't like every state have a special hot dog? Because there's like the Dodger dogs, Chicago dogs. I know like Michigan has the Coney stuff.
This is how you do it.
Oh,
A hot dog and a chocolate milk.
that's a chocolate milk. A little beer bottle of chocolate milk.
It's not a beer bottle. This is a soda bottle. Beer bottles are bigger. This is 25 centiliters. A beer bottle is 33 centiliters.
Mm.
But this is the only correct way to eat hot dogs. At a guy who stands on the street serving it, and he'll call you champ or something, and you have to use sausage lingo when you order it. Most of it
Yeah.
I probably couldn't translate.
Do sausage lingo.
Yeah, you don't have all these words for the different types of hot dogs.
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know hot dog speak.
Well, you have the sausage wagon. That's the place they are. That's, what do you call like the small fisher boats? Do you just call it a boat, or we call them a different name because it's a cutter? So you call it like a pork ship, and
Pork shit.
and if well, I can't translate cutter because you don't really have a word for it. But then we have red sausages as well. They are boiled, they're not roasted. So that's either a dead Indian or a gnome arm. So if you want to have it with a piece of bread next to it, you'll have a dead Indian with a backpack. You can say that. Or you can say a dead Indian with a cake. And if you like your sausage with wrapped in bacon, that's a heading in a top, like a top to put over things.
Mhm.
If you have the hot dog with the red sausage, the boiled sausage, it's an Indian in a canoe. If you have it with mustard on it, it's a Indian in a canoe with shit on his back. If you have it with ketchup on it, it's an Indian in a canoe, a bleeding Indian in a canoe. And if you have it with everything, it's a dead Indian with a blanket and the full war paint. If you haven't, we have something called a French hot dog. That's where you stuff the sausage into the bread instead of. That's called a ham nail in a restraining jacket. And if you're having just a roasted sausage, that's a ham nail. It could be a finger, could be a Bedouin finger, it could be a snake, it could be a Otto Leisner, who used to be on TV. I don't know why we call it an Otto Leisner. It's just something you can call thing. Other names for the sausage wagon is cafe chili feed or chill feed because it's cold outside. Restaurant cold butt. Just some of the ways we use. The guy who gives you the sausage is the pork captain. Or yeah, we have a snake tamer. All of the nice things you can say. That's we have a lot of words for it. But yeah, I don't know. We shouldn't use all of the words. They can be quite.
But you did.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Well, I have some that's way because a roasted sausage could also be a chopped off peen. A dead rat. A pork stick. That's don't think about it. That's yeah.
You hear that hot dog speak?
Yeah.
Iris, did you write that down?
Yeah, well, she can do it in Danish, so she can say instead of saying I want a roasted hot dog with everything, she just say, "Can I get a dead dog with dough and all the colors?"
She's gonna say, "Do you have salsa
Yeah,
and
and they're
bacon?"
gonna look at her and say, "No." It's I don't know. We have a entire what do you call it? Not translator, but we have a full lingo for what you can order, and most people will know a few of them. If we have the kielbasa sized, that's called a mayor peen or a lady comforter.
A lady comforter?
Well, I can't use the word that starts with D, Jamie. You imagine it's also
Is that what you're
called.
calling it? A lady comforter?
No, we're calling it a lady D because,
Okay.
but it could also be a wedding D because it's bigger. Don't think about it.
I can't.
If it's the red sausage, you can also call, if you want the hot dog with the red sausage, just order, can I get a communist in a jacket?
Communist in a jacket?
Yeah. Don't think about it. We are weird people.
Yeah, well. I think Americans are weird. We are weird people too.
Iris, go to the sausage stand and order that one.
What are you trying to do to her?
Well, she should just do it.
Get her kicked out of the country?
No, it'll be fine. He will look at her and smile. Don't Google what that means. Well, Glorin McLanolin, we try to entertain while nothing's going on in court.
We're trying.
Yes, it's the same as a rooster. We are fine. We are just waiting for a 10-15 minute break that turned into an hour break to end. Someone must have a medical emergency or something. Is anything going on in Lawn and Crim's chat? Nope. Tech problems in court, they say. No, doesn't seem like anyone have said anything. Is it anyone following Lawyer Lee? Maybe she knows what's going on. I'm glad I live in America where we have more than one option for food at the grocery store. Baker didn't realize peanut butter comes in crunchy till he got to the States.
Oh my God.
That's more because I don't like peanut butter, so I didn't go looking for it.
He hates peanut butter, yeah.
They are here the 8th of March.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a meetup on the 7th. It's the 8th we're going to do it. The 7th we have to go out, get cake, and put Jamie to bed. Is it the right channel?
I don't know. All right, I gotta go to my meeting. I'll be back.
Took him on.
Hopefully.
Took him to the couch.
No, I was just going back to show it was the
Oh,
right
I was
channel.
like, now they want to start. All right, I'll be right back. Bye.
Bye. If we take over Greenland, they are all going to bring here with 200. You have more processed food than we do. Will you be doing some live streaming when you're all together in Denmark? If we can find some stable internets, sure. I don't know. Maybe the fancy place that Jamie and Iris have rented, we can. I'm gonna find some budget hotel close to where you can get all the illicit drugs. Not that I need them, but just because it's cheap. But yeah, we'll do some streaming. I'm probably not gonna stream from the airport. That's a little weird. But and I hate that walking around and, hey everyone, look what we're gonna do. You got here, look here, there's the round tower. But we'll probably do some streamings. In Danish, the little man in the boat means something totally different. Little man in a boat. We uses wieners, not sausage, and hot dogs here. Do you call wieners frankfurts? No, we have wiener and grill and hot dog is the red ones that I don't like that you boil. You have the chunky ones, the medister. We have different things. Oh, the court TV stream says technical difficulties in court. That's not fun. So we're gonna lose all of this. Well, I don't need much. I just need a place to do the 3 S's. Shower and sleep. So it's gonna be fine. I'm gonna be out with the ladies. Iris have said she won't go to bed until she do it with a Viking. So we have to go find her a Viking. No, she'll probably get 12 to 14 years. That's what called hot dogs. Do they have a Motel 6? No, we have something called the cheapest one, I think, is Cab In, where you still have your own room and you're not sharing with someone. And it's actually okay. I normally use it if I fly out early in the morning because it's right next to the airport. It's kind of like the units that they put into like cruise liners, where it's just a mold with there's a bed, there's a toilet, there's a shower. And normally when I'm in Copenhagen, I'm either there to fly out in the morning, so I arrive late, go to bed, get up early, or I'm there to get hammered. And if I'm hammered, I don't care where I'm sleeping. I'll complain about my back the next day. I hate rødpølser. Mm. Mm. No, I'm a descendant of a Pole, so I'm more of a farmer type. They have that in Germany too. That's sheer. When I was younger, I played in a marching band, and once we were going to France, and they had surprise. They were having a strike in France, so we couldn't really get any food. But we had these sausages in a glass, so they were boiling them in a coffee maker. That was weird. I stay at the no-tell motel. I do. Not like sleeping pods. It's just like a unit that you get where there's a bed. It's just to make it easier when they build like luxury liners and stuff like that. They'll just shove it in, and they have the same for hotels. It's fine. It is what it is. You wouldn't want to stay there for a week, but if you're just crashing, it's fine. Well, I found out when I was in the States the last time, that was the last time I fly economy because I can no longer sleep in an economy seat. Yeah, I think they actually have, maybe I think they have built or they're thinking about building in Copenhagen. Those are Vienna sausage. No, Vienna sausages you get them normally. You can get a lot of sausage-based food in Denmark. Best American hot dog brand? I don't know. I never had an American hot dog. I had corn dogs. Not good on its own, but with mustard, I would like some really hot mustard for it, but then it's good, corn dogs. Yeah, and the one I'm looking at is that's where I normally stay because it's close to Tivoli and the main central station. It's right next to the police station in the main police station in Copenhagen. So never had any problems there. That's not where people are having parties at night. And it's like 10 minutes from where Iris and Jamie is staying. Well, I was trying to keep costs down, but I found out that's probably why I'm not gonna fly to Chicago. I'm still looking at it because Chicago is like 3,000 Danish more expensive than flying to Newark. That's a lot of money. That's the car rental is about 3,000, and the drive from Newark or Chicago is roughly the same to Knoxville. So I'm thinking about probably Newark, and then I can get an economy plus for I think like $750 or $800. So that's fine. I've seen enough of them. I don't want them. Applegate grass-fed, delicious without all the crap. Coney Island hot dogs, Scranton, PA. Well, if you go to the fancy hotels, you have all the rich creeps hanging out. No, they have technical problems. They could have put up a little graphic saying technical problems, but yeah. Oh, how nice. Hope you're having something good. But it's 11:30 now. It's probably not going to be fixed until lunch. So I don't know if we should just cut our losses and be back again at 1. If they get back here, we can catch up. Then I finally can make myself some dinner and eat it while it's hot, and I don't have to sit and eat on the screen. Are we on the chicken sausage and Coney Island hot dogs, 2 stayed over from Coney Island? I don't like chicken sausage. Well, apparently they have technical problems. They might be in a session, so I don't know. Tack så meget. Could do that. I have some errands. Well, James Bond gave me the go ahead. So let's just check out what are this chat's furry persona. We're trying to get the furry community in here. Jamie really likes them. 33% is the same as me. A platypus. 28% is a horse. You wish. 28% is a horse. 23% is a goat. And only 14% is a cricket like Jamie. Haven't had liver in a long time. Yeah, platypus is an amazing animal. It's it lays egg, but it's a mammal, and it's have a toxic, a venomous, the thing that it is, spike. I love that one. I stayed in a hotel in New Mexico once. Apparently, the local Indian tribe used the convention space for powwows, so you can try and sleep through chanting and drum banging. Yeah, that would probably be a little annoying. Until maybe if they just kept it at the same rhythm, it would be quite soothing. Just that could be soothing. Potatoes and veal sausage and chocolate souffle for dessert. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. They have technical problems in court. That's why I'm going to end this, and we're going to be back at 1 and see if they got the feedback running. Oh, now they switched the clock, so the camera is no longer blocked. But I'm going to end it. I'm going to be back at 1, and we'll see if we missed anything. And then I will have some hot belly in my dinner. Hot dinner in my belly, and I don't have to eat on screen and get acid reflux because I have to chomp it down like I've done the last 2 days. You all go get some lunch and be back here at 1 o'clock. And someone just walked past. They're not going to be back till lunch. If they start early, I'll try and get on. I'll keep the stream open so I can hear if they start early. Then we'll start early as well. Go get some hot dogs with chocolate milk. The only acceptable way to eat hot dogs with chocolate milk. Marissa approves.
What exhibit are you referring to?
I'm going to make this 100, Your Honor.
All right.
100.
100.
Because it is 100%
100%.
correct.
Objection, Your Honor.
So you literally built a cannon?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Go
right, I'm in love.
back. Please do that again. Oh, that was the cutest thing I've ever seen.
While I'm waiting for this, did you, whether it's true or not, believe that Mr. Randolph had slept with your wife?
I wouldn't care.
You wouldn't have cared?
No.
Did you believe he had slept with your wife?
No.
Did you believe he slept with your mother-in-law?
Probably did. Everybody has.